everybody. My name is Stone Abdullah. I'm a sci-fi novelist for my second book, Journey of the Shadow Darkness Falls, and you're listening to Catch the Craze.
What's up, crazies? Kickstarter fans, indie comic fans, I got something for you. I have indie creators in the blue room. They're ready to talk to you about their Kickstarters. They either launched it or gonna launch. So if you really, really love indie comics and you want to support the little guy and see them win, well, here's an opportunity to prove it. Put your money where your mouth is. Check this out. I'm done talking. Now it's time for the indies. Let's start it up. Start it up, y'all. Start it up, y'all. Start it up, start it up, start it up, y'all.
Hold on. What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
What's up, Georgie? Who do we have on today?
All right. So today, Sammy, we have Stone Abdullah, and he's got a book called Journey of the Shadow Darkness Falls on Kickstarter, and it's on now.
Wow. I know I fell off several times in the dark. So, let's get it. Welcome to Catch the Craze Podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with...
Woo! George the Dreamer Medina. How many cups of coffee did you have?
I drink Bustelo. Café Bustelo.
Bustelo is no joke.
I love Bustelo.
So just before we came on, oh my God, you just got a piece that was done by our friend Daphne Lage. Big shout out to Daphne Lage. Now, you sent me a picture from your screen and it looks amazing. So I can only imagine what this thing looks like. Wow. Big shout out to Daphne Lage. For those who don't know, Daphne Lage, she is an artist and a very good artist. She's also a writer. She's got a book called Eagle Raven right now that was very successful on Kickstarter. And she's got a Kickstarter coming out May 3rd, I believe, for issue number 2. So you definitely want to check her out. But she just did a piece for Sam's book, Forbidden, which is on Indiegogo right now. So
which is right now on the screen. I'm showing it.
You're going to go to Indiegogo.
I'm showing it right.
The piece?
The piece.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, it's on the screen. Daphne did her thing. This is Desiree from Forbidden, which is currently on Indiegogo with 19 days left to go.
So if Forbidden was an animation, like if it was just like a cartoon, this would be it right here.
This would be it. She's done a great job. I mean, man, Desiree is sexy. that's a really great piece. It's like, hey girl, how you doing? I was like, hold on, it's my eyebrows.
Also, follow Daphne Lage's YouTube channel.
Yes,
where she does a lot of the artwork that she does on the channel. She does it live. She actually has a show with Sam where they were discussing Forbidden on the show, and she was doing this piece on the show, but she was she was inking it at the time. So you guys would be able to get to see the behind the scenes process of how she works. But it was a very good, very in-depth conversation between you and Daphne. Yes. And that's on her YouTube channel. So follow her on YouTube and check that out. But also go to Indiegogo and pledge to Forbidden, which is Sam's creation from 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
20 años.
Help a brother out. So, so $44 away from making goal. Because we are so close to making goal, I already commissioned a colorist. Well, I'm working on commissioning a colorist. Narrowed it down to 3 colorists. So I can get you the colored version of Forbidden instead of the black and white. But I'm hoping to exceed the goal, so that way I can get the entire series.
There will be no black and whites. There will be no black and whites sent out, Sam. Stop it. Stop lying to the people. There will not be any black and whites. By the time this thing airs, we may even have more than we may have already reached our goal. This is Thursday now, and we are actually recording this on a hot Tuesday night.
A hot Tuesday. Hot Tuesday.
So yeah, no, there is no, we are going to do this in color. You guys are going to help us out. You guys are going to do it for us. You're going to get on Indiegogo. You're going to support the cause.
Do it till you're satisfied.
Yeah, no, this book is great, man. I had the pleasure of lettering this bad boy. The story's fun. It's a fantasy story about betrayal, love, father and son rivalries, secrets. I mean, think about anything is in there. Like, you know what I mean? Family secrets, curses,
corruption,
hexes, corruption. You got a twist of
treachery
fantasy in it. Yeah, you have monsters. You have people with magical powers, like
lions and tigers and bears.
I mean,
Oh
and
my!
bears.
Yeah. It's like, you got the Mystics, you got the Crimson
Yo,
Guard,
honestly,
you got
seriously.
Shaku and his warriors, you got the Creepers, the Overseer.
I mean, you have so many things. There's so
Nacron,
many elements, layers.
the Whispering
it's like
Tunnels.
a big old onion. It's like a big fat onion with just layers and layers.
Speaking of onions,
Oh boy. Okay.
there was a time in my life where, you know, when I just graduated high school, about 6 months later, my mom passed away, and so it was just me. I was a teenager taking care of my sister, who was a teenager with a baby, and then my grandmother came along in the picture, and then my brother came along in the picture, and then I went on my own. And I went on my own, and I could only afford at that time, back in the days, I was living on my own, and I was making $6 an hour.
Nice.
So I didn't have a phone.
Ballin'.
I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a television. All I had was a one-bedroom apartment on 186 in Jamaica. 186 in Jamaica, Queens. And I got a pledge as well. Look at that.
You see, talk about with $44 a week. Get out of here. This guy doesn't know. I got people. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
And I lived right above a spot on Jamaica Ave, and if you know, it's a spot.
Now, when you say
a
spot, you don't know,
if you don't know what a spot is,
just like a nice place. No, a spot is where things were going
things
down.
go down,
Drugs are being sold, things of that nature.
So I had it was a printing press below, and there was apartments above, and I had one of the apartments, and the building owner was a great person. She actually owned the printing press too, but I was living off of sack of potatoes, sack of onions, bananas, and eggs. That's all I could afford. So it was potato, and I would get like a big sack of rice because that would last me forever, and a sack of potatoes. I would get a sack of onions. Onions I would eat like an apple, raw, straight up. And yes,
the savagery.
I remember. And then once in a while, when I had enough, there was a bodega. A bodega is a deli. Right, there was a bodega, but the bodegas, usually have the Dominican guys like "Dímelo, mano," and so you walk in, you're like, "What's up, papi?" And so you go in, and they made food there. So I would get for like $3 a meal. You get like arroz con gandules, and you get all this stuff, whatever. And I'm like, so I get so once a week, I'd have a couple of bucks in my pocket. So I was working 6 days a week at my job. They wouldn't let me do 7 because it was against the law, but I was doing 6 days a week, and I was doing about 14 hours a day. I was killing them with overtime. And I had a pager. Remember pagers back then? I had a pager, and I would go to the cell phone. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a TV. I didn't even have a bed. I had a mattress on the floor, but I had a kitchen table where I would eat because my kitchen was huge. But yeah, so that was when you put up onions. I remember that, and that was my grind back in the hustle days.
Son. Yo, big shout out, and that's a crazy story. That's the story you had yesterday about.
I haven't had, when we first started the craze, I used to have a lot of stories.
You haven't had story time in a minute.
I know,
but that was a good one. You had 2 back-to-backs. This one was touching, bro. You brought us some stuff from back in the days. Yeah. But big shout out. Yesterday we had a gentleman by the name of Christopher Michael on the show. He had a book called Crit. It's also on Indiegogo. You guys need to check that out. Big shout out to him. He was actually the pledger.
Yes, I know. I just saw it.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So Homebrewed Comics. The book is called Crit on Indiegogo. Go out there, support that bad boy. It's a good book. It's based on a game he created. Like almost like a Dungeons and Dragons game that he created. That he actually went, created it, and now he's branding it, and it looks great.
He's killing it.
So check that out. Check out the
He's got
interview.
big plans.
Yeah, huge plans. And great guy.
Tonight we have who?
And tonight we have Stone Abdullah. What are you trying to stump me, man? Sometimes you just be throwing like pop quizzes. Stone Abdullah. He's got, you're right, dog, don't die. Journey of the Shadows, Journey of the Shadow, Darkness Falls is a sci-fi anime novel that continues the saga of Commander Sumisu fighting against an ancient evil's return. So it's a novel, and I read the first chapter, which you guys can get on his website. The website is journeyoftheshadow.com. And check out the website. You can definitely get the first chapter. You can download it, read it for free. Very good writing, man. I'm and people know I'm not a big reader. When it comes to prose, I don't sit down and kind of I'm gonna snuggle up with this book and read it unless it's like a bioepic about somebody's life. Like I read Killing Pablo, love that book, and unless it's something written by my man.
I read Sammy the Bulls.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So I read that kind of stuff, bioepics. I love those, right? But you're not gonna catch me reading, anything else on that. I'll be honest with you. I read albums, books, but that's about it.
What was that movie Tom Hanks played?
Yeah, Angels and Demons.
Yeah, I read all of those.
But you read the other one. Which one was the Da Vinci Code?
Da Vinci Code, yes. I preferred that over the movie.
That yes, big time, huge difference.
Yeah.
So I actually sat down and read this first chapter. It's only 10 pages, guys. It's not it's nothing crazy, but it was very good, man. Very good book. It almost felt like reading a manga comic. So he did a very good job with the descriptions. I can see the characters, and so yeah, it was very well written. So I can't wait to talk to him about it and some of his inspirations. Obviously, it's very manga style.
Yeah.
It was influenced by manga, but yeah, no, it's awesome. So we're gonna have him on the show in a few minutos.
Yeah, a few minutes. I mean, it's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of talent. The competition is heavy.
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny though because you threw me for a loop when you sent that email, and I read. I was like, I opened it up, clicked it. I was like, all right, let me read this comic. And I was like,
yeah.
Yo, that laugh is evil, bro. He said, that's an evil laugh.
Because I know you. I know you were like, oh, man. Well, it was like, it was just like, it reminds me of when Christian Aluas, when he said, hey, Sam, would you like to read my book? I thought it was going to be the comic that he did, and I got the book. And I was like, ah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I got to make time for this. And, and I read it in 10 hours or whatever it was. I read the whole thing, over 200 pages, and or 6 hours. I forgot. I read it in a day. And
good book though, right? Good book.
Yeah, it was a good book. I did my review on it. Check that out.
Christian Aluas, big shout out to him.
Aluas.
He's got a book called It's a Living.
It's a Living.
And it's for he's a freelance artist, so he basically chronicles how he goes about his business.
My business.
So it's a how-to book. So it's really good. It's got some stories about him growing up. So it's a very good book. Big shout out to Christian. Funny guy. He's got that dry sense of humor. You don't know he's joking, but he is. Like it just hits you with that.
Yeah, he has the Charles Manson sense of humor, or like what is it? No, The Shining or something, where he's just like
killer. It's killer.
Yeah. He's got the blade in his hand. And he's smiling, and next you know, you're like, why is my throat wet? Like, oh.
big shout out to Christian. Big shout out to Christian Aluas out there. He's got a book called Big Boss Comic. It's the Big Boss.
Yeah, it was a story about me.
Good.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank
Big
you.
Boss. All right, Big Boss. Stone will be coming up, and big shout out to Stone because he actually supported the Crazies as well, which. For anybody who supported the Crazies, bringing that up now, and we haven't even said this, the books are in. We will be signing them in the next couple of days, next week, and you guys should be getting them soon. So
soon.
Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. So all the sketch cards are done for those who are getting sketch cards. I already did those, and I'm waiting for the sketchbook to come in because the sketch cover, one backer gets the sketch cover, so I'll be working on that piece. And now it's just getting everything ready, starting to do like a conveyor belt and set it up getting everything. So we're hoping by next Tuesday, Wednesday, the latest, it gets into the postal service's hands, and it'll be sent out to you. And for Omar Solis, George will be yours to you because twice it came back. So we're still sitting on it. So I wasn't gonna do it a third time. So George is going to be connecting with you and getting your stuff.
I will be hand delivering that bad boy. So don't you worry, sir.
Yes, we didn't forget about you, O.
Also, big shout out for all those that got the hoodie. The hoodies will be sent out. They will be getting to you in an Amazon package because they are being
Amazonian.
Amazon.
Yes.
So, Crystal, you're going to be getting yours. John, I'm going to see you. When I see you, I'm going to give you yours. We have Christian Aluas gets one, and big shout out to Sebastian Bonet, who actually did a piece for Forbidden. So big shout out to Sebastian.
John Coates, Daphne Lage, which I just showed on the screen. All did a piece. So far, I'm waiting on Christian Aluas' piece.
That will be printed, correct? Joe Holly.
Joe Holly.
Yeah.
So 5 people took on the challenge to do Forbidden renditions, and I'm honored. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, indeed. But don't forget, you guys got to hit the Indiegogo website, Indiegogo.com. That's INDIE GOGO.com, one word. And search Forbidden Comic.
Yeah, we're $26 away from hitting goal.
And we may even be at the goal by the time this airs.
Yes.
When we started the I'm gonna call it the telecast, like I'm freaking 102 years old. When we started the show, we needed 44 all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it happens that fast.
Yes. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I took a risk bringing Forbidden to Indiegogo away from the Kickstarter platform, but I was following some recommends about trying to build an audience in 2 different locations.
Expand.
And keeping Kickstarter pure to Catch the Crazies. But based on the success or how we do here on Indiegogo will determine whether or not in the summer when I come back with the follow-up for Forbidden, if I do it on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. So we'll see.
We shall see. We shall see. And what else we got going on? So this is this week on the show on Catch the Craze, we do have the comic book school.
Comic book school
Friday.
Tomorrow.
This Friday. Big shout out.
It'll be on tomorrow.
Big shout out to everybody in the comic book school. Check that show out. It's going to be a very, very fun show. Yeah, there's a lot going on, man.
Yes, you had the Crazy Nintendo List. You had the What's in the Box. You have
it's always like that. It's always
two
like that.
two indie campaigns, one on Indiegogo, one on Kickstarter. We have the live show, and we have the comic book school, and then potentially me going back live on the weekend to draw again. So, it's
you're a slave to the work, man. Good job.
I am walking the streets. I'm a streetwalker. I'm working. He works hard for the money.
You're a man of the night. You're a man of the night. Oh, good stuff. So there's a lot going on. On the crazy side, we also have the 3rd Kickstarter that's going to be popping off at the end of April. So be ready for that.
Unveiling of that cover coming soon.
Unveiling of the cover. I'm gonna see if Sam will wait until the April live show. I doubt he will. as soon as it comes back, you guys will see it. So
George be besting my flow. I'd come up with a cover. You know what? I like the cover. Maybe we could do it for the future issue and do a different. And I'm like, I gotta draw again. It's like I'm gonna open up a can of whoop-ass. I was like, you're killing me.
But then what happens? Then you come out with the cover you just came out with that is fire. I'm telling you, when you guys see it, it's such a good cover. It's very telling of what's gonna happen in that issue.
Yes.
Of the book. So
but then it's crazy. So the cover that was meant to be the cover. Now it's like, well, how about we use that for the collected edition and you draw a different cover? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, yes. I'm gonna go back into the damn factory and line worker. I'm like, next. I'm like, sweatshop.
I'm just feeding your creativity.
He's lucky with the social distancing, man. I'm gonna take it to the streets. That's 3:00 outside after school. You and me.
Don't we have a picture of us like choking each other? Was that us? I don't even. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. So the crazies are back in April. And for those who received the PDFs, if you guys have read the book, if you guys like it or hate it or have questions or whatever, let us know. Give us a little feedback. Let us know what you think.
Yes. We're trying to build, and we got some cool announcements are coming down for April that we want to really build the engagement, and we want to start talking about the crazies with you. We don't we really, really want to get your feedback.
Yes, indeed.
On where it's going, who's your favorite characters, what you think is going to happen next. We love to pick your brain. So if we go live, if you truly want a big engagement, and we would love to have everybody who backed us to be in the chat room, because it's going to be a fun night.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be a good time.
Yes.
It's going to be a good time.
Good times anytime you need a payment. Good times anytime you need a friend.
Good job. I never watched Good Times. My favorite.
Ain't
my
we
favorite
lucky we got
sitcom-
them? Good times.
I mean, that's when shows had actual songs to start the show itself.
Yes.
But my favorite was Three's Company. That's my joint. Jack Tripper and him.
That was just
Come and knock
music.
on our door.
Oh yes, come and knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you, bro.
We've been waiting for you. When the kisses are hers and his, Three's Company
too. I mean, come on, I love that show, bro. Jack Tripper was my idol. He was the man.
Nah, I love the Facts of Life. I love Tootie.
Oh yeah,
Tootie.
Yeah, you take the good, you take the bad,
Take both
one.
that you
There
have.
you
I love Tootie. Oh my God, I used to just fast. So when I was
Tootie
growing
was-
up, there was
Tootie
a few girls that I was in love with. It was Tootie. It was Sam from Who's the Boss.
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, Alyssa Milano. Those were my crushes as a kid.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Wonder Years?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
What you think about Winnie Cooper?
I was in love with Winnie.
I had a thing for Winnie.
I was in love with. I met her.
Winnie.
I met her.
Did you really?
Yes, I met her at Bergdorf Goodman.
Let's check you out.
Yes, I was
Fancy.
I was the manager for the women's designer shoe department, and she was shopping, and I was like,
Bundy.
and
You're high class Al Bundy.
Yeah, you had to be careful in the shoe department.
Speaking of Al Bundy, Christina Applegate's character.
She wasn't high on my radar. I liked her.
I loved her.
I know you must have. But I. He's like, what you trying to say? I had a specific. I don't know. I thought she was cute, but she wasn't.
Brunettes?
She wasn't it. For me.
Like the brunettes, the darker haired girls.
Yes.
I like it. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead. Bergdorf Goodman. I cut you.
Yeah,
off.
I met Kim Kardashian at Bergdorf Goodman too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It was just because they were shopping in our departments, and we had to provide a service. But
Of course you did.
yeah, working in the women's shoe department, I try to avoid dealing with the clients and just have my team deal with the clients, because sometimes the women were like, "Can you put the shoe on for me?" and they're wearing skirts. And I'm like, no. And I'd get one of my female associates and say, "Can you take care of this customer, please?" It's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I got a meeting to go to. I'm off. But yes. But she's beautiful, even and she's very smart. Winnie.
Winnie Cooper.
Yeah,
I forgot her. I forget the actress's name.
She's really smart in mathematics and all that stuff. But I saw her, and I saw Kim before all the modifications and stuff. Where she didn't have all those things attached to whatever. She looked flawless.
She was pretty, man. She was a very, very pretty girl. Yeah, flawless. She was gorgeous.
Yeah. I met Serena Williams.
Oh.
We had to get custom made shoes for her because she's got some big feet. I forgot the size, but they were huge.
She's tall. Isn't she like 6'3"?
Yeah. She has her. I know her shoes were custom. There's a lot of celebrities we met there.
Yeah, you were so. I mean, Bergdorf Goodman, bro. That's the store right there. Yeah, no, good job.
Yeah.
Oh man, do you miss it? You miss the no, not at all. Not even a little bit.
No, because it was very pretentious. I think you had to everyone had to create a facade. You weren't really being naturally organic yourself. Everyone was worried about how they dressed, their appearance, how they came off, and you was always aware of what you were putting out, and you got to make sure
there was an image you had to uphold.
You had to have your ties with the dimples, you had the pocket squares, the cuff links. You couldn't have scuffs on your shoes. I mean, everything was polished, and and everyone was so it was like a very tight atmosphere. Everyone was so uptight, and then me, I have a loud laugh. When I laugh, people would look like, oh, right, and I'm like, yo, slow down, relax, relax.
Speaking
It's,
Spanish guy over
yeah.
here,
It's like
freaking Spanish
I
people.
bought the fun to Bergdorf. And I remember when I bought my team, I catered them for Christmas out of pocket, and oh my gosh, it was like how dare you make us look bad? I was like, what? I was like, yo, this is my team. I'm doing it for them. They, I don't need to because they made a whole lot of money in commission shoes, a lot more money than a lot of the executives.
Dude, a pair of shoes, bro? Are you kids? 700, 800. I mean, I don't know how long ago you worked there, but I'm sure it wasn't less.
Oh no, I mean we had shoes we had $10,000 shoes. So we had everything from Manolo Blahnik to Christian Louboutin. We had everything.
Christian Dior. I'm sure Dior shoes ain't that cheap.
And they made a lot of these people were making over six figures in commission annually. So, but
just in commissions, I love it.
I did it because I cared about my team. I wanted to thank them and do something nice for them, and that was it. And there was no ulterior motive, but it was one of those things.
Yeah, man, that life it's a different lifestyle. Yeah, no, for sure. But speaking of beautiful women, Stone has a book, like we were mentioning earlier, called Journey of the Shadow. And if you look at his Kickstarter, he's got a lot of very beautiful women on the Kickstarter as far as what you would get some of the perks. Yeah. He's got a lot of 16 by 20. He's got a 16 by 20 calendar by one of the characters. Yeah. So so he's got a few things going on this Kickstarter. I'm looking forward to asking a few questions. He'll be joining us soon on the show, but I'll be kind of straight a little bit from what we were doing. But yeah, no, it's we've talked about this ad nauseum, how much talent there is on these crowdfunding platforms.
It's thick. I mean, it makes me work hard. And Kickstarter. I want to say, I want to thank you, all you creative people out there on the on the crowdfunding circuit. You guys really make, because I've been out of the game for so long, and I keep back in, and you guys are making me put the hustle in. So you guys inspire me, and so thank you so much. I mean, there's a lot of quality content out there. My hat's off to all of you out there in the indie game. You guys are doing a great job out there.
Big time. And every time I look, it's like you see, and I'm like, wow, another one. Look at this thing. I'm telling you, I backed like almost 30 campaigns. I've backed like so much stuff. And like, even with the guys that we have on the show, like you'll look at their stuff and you're like, okay, I'm going to back that one. It's just, and it's fun to get these packages in the mail, dude. Like I love getting packages in the mail from Kickstarter.
Yeah. I have a few coming in the mail.
And big shout out to everybody who does these campaigns and send these things and we get them, because when you open them up, it's like there's a thank you card. It's just everything, the way it's packaged, it's done. You take your time in doing it. So thank you very much to
take your time, young man.
All of those
Mama used to say, don't you work to get older. Right. Speaking of campaigns, I backed one that ended in November and I still haven't received anything. Nothing. They're still working on pages. They sent an update. Oh, we got some more pages in. I'm like, dude.
You angry.
I'm going to get that like in 2022.
I pledged to one that I'm actually, when I see you next week, I'm going to bring to you. It's called, and big shout out to the Saturn Effect Alpha. I'm going to bring this with me.
I heard about
when
them.
I see you. Yeah. If you look at the screen, Sammy, I'm showing it up on the screen. It's got some. He's like, yeah. It's got some cool stuff inside the book, and I'll bring it to you so you could do like, maybe you'll do like a what's in a box, I don't know. But it's got some of the stuff you like. It's got the behind the scenes stuff in the back. It's got the some of the sketches and things.
I love that stuff. So any of you guys that are doing Indiegogos or Kickstarters and you're doing books, add some original content in the back, some sketch art, production art, that stuff. It really goes a long way. Speaking of what's in the box, I remember Cracker Jacks. Remember Cracker Jacks?
Cracker Jacks, yes,
I used to love Cracker Jacks. Number one, always wanted to find out what the prize was inside the box, and then I just love Cracker Jacks. And
I love going to baseball games and having some Cracker Jacks.
Take me out to the ball game.
In a minute, but
take me out to the crowd.
Buy
me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back.
Almost messed up the actual thing
I know.
we're talking about.
I was like, oh. I forgot that, so it's been a while.
Yeah, man. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, we have a lot going on in the next few months with the projects that we have going on. I love the fact that you brought Forbidden back. The Crazies are doing their thing. And there are more things coming down the pike. You actually, are you bringing back Duty? And I know that Daphne asked you that question. And for those who don't know, and for those who do know, I'm sure that they will want you to bring back There's in My Toilet, Duty from Uranus.
Yes, I'm working on that. I was thinking about that. And I was like, because 5 books are completely done. 5 issues of There's Nail in My Toilet are done. The 6 issues in productions, halfway done. And 1 issue of High on Duty from Uranus is done. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I want to really do the collected edition of Forbidden, which is why I'm determining whether or not the summer kickoff for Forbidden will just be the whole collected trade instead of just the issue, because I was thinking of fall There's Nail in My Toilet for Christmas.
Yeah.
I was thinking around that time.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm planning on bringing back There's Nail in My Toilet. I will be, at the end of this Forbidden campaign, I will be finishing up issue 6 and for There's Nail in My Toilet, and I'll probably just do it as a collected one-shot. Trade. Get the whole thing collected for There's Nail in My Toilet.
Yeah, just a trade. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because everything's done. Everything's colored. Everything's lettered, except for the new issue. So 5 issues are completely done.
Yeah.
And but it'll be probably after Forbidden. I really want to get Forbidden into a collected edition, get it into stores, get a barcode. So the next campaign will be for that, to collect Forbidden, all of it, one shot, one deal, and
there you go.
Get it into stores.
That's right. And I don't normally do this, but if you guys want to check out some of my stuff, the Russ 5377, which I've had.
Hold on, I gotta mute his mic. Hold on.
Go to Get Your Meds with a Z, getyourmeds.com, and check out the book. I have that, and then my boy right here, bam, Wonder Duck. I'm actually part 2 is being worked on as we speak, so I'm excited about that, man. I can't wait to see that come out. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have all of it done. So we'll see how that goes. And get that go. Yeah, but we got a lot of stuff, man. I mean, we do the show, but we also do we have all these stories that we've had for years.
Yeah.
And it's great to be able to put them out. Hopefully by the time a lot of this stuff comes out, we'll be on the road and you guys can see us at a convention, come up to the table, say hello.
On the road again.
We can meet in person.
Me and the Dreamer on the road again.
That's right. That's right. That'll be fun.
Oh, yes.
Throwback.
Roadies, it'd be it'd be nice. It would be real nice if 2022, 2022,
right,
better not act up. San Diego needs to come back.
Word.
Because that's the year we got to go to San Diego. But 2022,
I agree,
because San Diego canceled this year.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to meet up with Lewis and David.
Oh,
Anibal, you, me, John.
That would
Brian Kong.
Oh, bring it back.
Bring it back, yo. That would be
back. Yo, big shout out to David Montoya. David Montoya doesn't get shouted out here on the show.
Shout it out.
Seen him in a while. But big shout out to David Montoya. JD Calderon goes out there.
Calderon.
David Keelis, aka the Wolf. Luis Torres, of Koshi fame back in the days.
Koshi.
That's right, man. Oh, man, that's the old school crew right there.
Yeah, we had some good times.
We had some
good times.
That would be the ultimate reunion right there.
Yes. Imagine. What?
Yeah, just for good old time's sake, let's just all get one room.
Yeah, I know, right? Remember? It was crazy. I had to sleep next to the wolf. He's a character in itself. He's a character in himself.
Oh, big shout out to the wolf, David Keelis.
We had some fun times out there.
Yes, yes, indeed.
The
Those were the
parties, the
days.
drinking,
Those were the
it was
days.
awesome. It was great time. To
Great times.
going to Tijuana,
Going to
Tijuana
Tijuana during the day.
during
We
the
wouldn't go
day.
there at night.
I don't go. The freaks come out at night. The
It
freaks
was,
come
dude.
out.
It was. We had a good time that night. We
I
did
will.
definitely had a good time. I'm
I
telling
love
you
my
right now.
life.
David introduced us to some dude that was straight out of a
Cartel.
Quentin Tarantino movie, bro.
Yeah, she's like,
Sat us down in the middle of a chair. He said, "This is how this goes down, fellas." And he broke
let's
down
go. We're
what was
down
gonna
for
happen. Yo,
real.
it was great. It was great. I will say no
Yeah,
more.
these cats were like,
They
yo, let's
swore into
go at
secrecy.
night. I said, yo, it's bad enough during the day when we went to Tijuana, we had some cats following us. But they want to go at night and they want to go into the heart of Tijuana. I was like,
One of
oh,
TJ's. Let's go
no.
TJ's, bro. TJ's is fun.
No,
TJ's a good time.
no, that's them, not me.
Good time.
I'll stay. I stood in San Diego. I got my murder burgers and I went up to my room while these guys were on a trolley going
This
over to another
was
country,
yeah.
deep into the heart of machine gun land. I was like, oh no, I'm
It
not
wasn't
doing
even that
this.
serious. It
Yeah.
wasn't. We had a very nice lunch.
No.
You have that picture. You seen that picture of us having lunch?
Yeah, that was
All
the
of us
day. That's when we
young
got. That's when
yeah,
we got that
daytime.
nice big ice bucket of
It was
Coronas,
Coronas. It was nice.
and we had
It was
tortillas
nice.
and frijoles.
It was very, very. And then didn't we go out? Oh no, that was in San Diego. That we went out with. Was it El Muerto? Was it with them that we went?
Javier Hernandez. Yes, we went down. We went down, and it was like 30 of us.
Yeah.
It was
deep.
like there was like 30 of us, and it was like this big. It was like a tented thing, and we
Yeah.
had. I have the photo.
Oh, you do.
I have the
Yeah, it
photo
was
with the
nice.
squad.
That
Yeah,
was nice. That
yeah,
was nice. Yeah, good times, bro.
yeah,
Good times.
yeah.
Excellent days, man. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, at this point, maybe we'll go to a commercial and then
Yes. So
we'll be back.
yes. We're back with Catch the Craze podcast, and we have a very special guest, Stone Abdullah, and he's going to be talking about his book, Journey of the Shadow, currently on Kickstarter, already on fire. So we have a lot to talk about. Welcome, Stone. Love the name.
Thank you so very kindly, my friend. You can blame my parents for slapping that on me. You know, like sometimes when I walk in public or I go to the bank, it'd be like, "Bro, your name's Stone." I'm just like, yeah, man. I can't help it. And then, you know, the only thing you can do in a situation like that is like pull the bigger guns on them, like bigger guns, Tiger.
Yeah, you know.
Thank you guys.
No, that's awesome, man. Hey, listen, you're bringing the energy, and I love it, brother.
Yes.
I love it. I love the fact that you have this Kickstarter campaign, and it's already been funded. You're at $1,200. You have 21 backers and 21 days to go. So you're killing it, my man. You're killing it.
I appreciate it.
And so I know that we like to start with a little background on the guests that we have on the show. I was reading your bio on Kickstarter, and you have some incredible titles on here as far as what you did before even writing this book. So you have to tell us a little bit about, you're an author, you're a musician, programmer. I'm seeing here former government computer scientist, former climate scientist. So tell us about Stone Abdullah. Bring us back all the way to when you were like this big.
Okay, so when I was about maybe a foot tall, suddenly my mom, God rest her soul, that beautiful lady, she read this book to me. It's called Don't Be Scared, Baby Goofy. I think that was the name. It was like a baby book, okay?
Awesome.
And she had one of the most awesome speaking voices. You know, I guess that's where, you know, I got my from. And, you know, and dad too, okay, all right, you know. But mom read this book to me. Don't be scared, baby Goofy. It was about baby Mickey consoling baby Goofy about a thunderstorm, and you know, baby Mickey's just smiling throughout this whole fucking book, and baby Goofy's just freaking out. He's like, "Oh my God, that's wind! Oh my God, that's rain!" I'm like, "How can you freak out about rain, bro? We need rain, you know." And you know, I'm like 3. I didn't call baby Goofy bro, but you know.
Right.
But you know, that sparked my interest because I was trying to figure out why is Mickey so comfortable talking about, you know, lightning and thunder and all this other type of stuff. So that sparked my, I suppose, scientific interest. And so as a kid, I was homeschooled by my parents, my mother and my father, from, you know, day one all the way up until high school.
Wow.
And you know, kids, of course, it's a little hard to make friends, but fortunately, I had two other older sisters that, you know, were homeschooled with me. But you know, kids used to call me the professor, and adults too. They used to call me the professor because I would just, you know, spend time reading like fucking dictionaries. Remember dictionaries? Yeah, they used to be a thing.
And encyclopedias too. Remember those?
Yeah. Oh man, a new book of knowledge. Oh man, Readers something, Britannica. Yeah, we had all that shit, man. It's, you know, those are things that no one cares about anymore, right? Because Google. But my parents, they had that stuff. So I used to go to bed reading that stuff. We didn't have internet and computer and that sort of thing. But we did have a lot of books, and that just, of course, at a young age, that's going to stir my imagination about science, about everything. So that stirred my scientific interest, but at the same time stirred my creative interest because you know, we had a lot of Dr. Seuss books, man. We had, you know, those scholastic books that it triggered your critical thinking, but also triggered your creative brain. My parents were, you know, they didn't go to college, but they were geniuses for like throwing that material in front of us. I'm just like, ah. So the long and short of it is, my parents had me messed up from day one in terms of mental exploration. You know what I'm saying? In terms of creativity, but also, you know, critical thinking. So I guess you know, started with music. My mom bought my dad a guitar in like '96. And, you know, in the South, you know, I'm from Mississippi, so this is the origin of blues, okay? Mm-hmm. And so my dad, my mom, they had a lot of tapes and vinyls, and they would play Howlin' Wolf and Lightning Hopkins, John Lee Hooker, B.B. King, all the greats, right? And so, you know, my hands are small. You know, I've got tiny hands. Okay, a lot of people say I had tiny hands, but my hands are just as average size hands. Everyone knows it, and they're amazing. So I had average size hands as a child, and you know, you get your hands, you know, they hurt. You get the blisters, but it was like a 6-string acoustic. I still have it. And what I did was just try to play along with what I heard on the radio, play along with what I heard on you know, the records and stuff, and I just learned guitar by ear. But then at the same time, forgot to mention that mom, she used to play like piano at church. So she was teaching me how to play piano. So around the same time, I was learning piano and I was transferring what I learned from piano to guitar. I'd be like, oh, so this is a C chord on like the keyboard, and that's a C chord on the guitar. Cool, bro, sweet, right? So, you know, that's my voice in my head at 8 years old.
Okay, all right, got you.
For those of you listening at home. But so I taught myself how to play some instruments, and you know, that really fired off a lot of creativity. So around like 03 and stuff, man, I got into the scene. Did some, you know, there's some open mics and stuff. But out of the blues scene, I got into metal. You know, I think Matchbox 20 was my entry drug. Believe it or not, you know, to all the heavy stuff like Behemoth, Meshuggah, you know, Killswitch Engage, and all the rest of these other bands, and Deftones, especially Deftones, Korn, new metal scene, Limp Bizkit. That Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You album in 1996 is my entry drug. I'm gonna put that on record. So, because Rob Thomas, that dude, he could sing like he was straight out of the church house. It was great, you know. Yeah. And then when he joined up with, you know, Santana. But anyway, got on the scene. And guys were just like, who is this? Who's this black guy trying to play in metal? And isn't he getting whiplash doing that thing? I didn't know, because, you know, when you're practicing at the house, you're just in it. So when somebody calls you to do a set or whatever, you're doing your little band, everybody's like, oh, bro, it's pretty cool. Do you listen to Rage Against the Machine? I'm like, why, yes, I do. Evil Empire, you know what I mean? I was like, how long? Not long, because what you reap is what you sow. You know, Tom Morello and stuff. So, but you know, mom and dad didn't know about that influence at the time, so I kept those records under the bed. because they're really interested in my academic pursuit, and for a good reason.
Yeah.
So I was doing that and finishing school, and got into a couple of bands, did some some regional tours, but I was doing stuff with blues bands as a piano player, organ man. Joined a band, and we did some stuff for B.B. King's Homecoming Festival in Indianola, Mississippi, about once or twice. It was pretty cool. You're the last band on there before BB. You get to see BB King. I was just like, oh shit, that's BB King. That's the same guy I was listening to on the Wax albums when I was a kid. That's BB King. You know what I mean? You're fangirling, but but when you're on the set, you get into it, man. And a lot of the guys at the time, they're just like, man, you play like the old guys. I'm like, well, that's all I listen to because I trained myself to play by ear. But anyway, that's the music interest. So it went from blues to metal. And then my sister got on my case. She's like, and then the guys on the set were like, bro, what are you doing out here, man? You need to be in like university, like teaching people about physics, bro. Because I would talk about that while they're ripping bongs. Right. I'm over here talking about super string theory or some shit.
Right.
The next Neil deGrasse.
So finally, what's that?
The next Neil deGrasse.
Yeah. Yes, this man gets it. He knows, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what they kind of like attributed me to. They said like Neil deGrasse Tyson and saying a bunch of stuff like. But I always found it fascinating. Like I said, as a kid, love physical sciences, weather, climate. Oh man, thunderstorms used to scare the crap out of me, but then I learned how they worked. I was just like, oh, this is really freaking cool. So this is why Mickey was smiling, because he knew. Mickey knew.
It all goes back to Mickey.
He knew. It goes back full circle. Yeah. Mickey knew the whole time. Son of a biscuit eating Frenchman. You know what I mean? He knew. So here I am. In my early 20s. You're used to being in some venues because I started early in my teens, so like my dad used to come with me to go, to get me into the venues, and then you got to dodge all the drunk girls that are going to school for nursing or law, and they're like, "Can I buy you a drink?" I'm like, first of all, Becky, I'm allergic to wheat and barley. I have a gluten allergy. All right? So even if you offered me the drink, there's going to be a scene up in this venue because I'm going to be foaming at the mouth. Because of the drink, baby. I got to tell you guys this. So one time, I swear to God, I'll get to the scientific. I swear to God, one day.
I'm waiting for it. So.
One day. I know. So one day, we're doing a set, and I think this is a rock band. It was like Waiting Till October or something. And, yeah, we did some good stuff at the time. So, we're doing intermission, and I just wanted to. I'm a clean guy, all right. I like to wash my hands when you play guitar or whatever. Your hands get sweaty. Sure, some people have a high acidity content in their sweat, and they have to, constantly do some things. All right, person to person, not a judgy Jason. For me personally, I like to go to the restroom, wash my hands. Now here comes the problem. I go to the bathroom. Somebody decided to get it on with his old lady on the freaking sink, not in the stall, on the sink. Here I am, frustrated. I said, there's no hand sanitizer. There are no disinfectant wipes. That's not even a bucket of water where I can just take some hand soap and be like, yep, wash my hands, get rid of this filth, get thee behind me, Satan. You know what I mean? But here they are. And see, I was just like, could you guys please excuse me? I'm trying to be polite. Here comes a buddy of mine. He's like, bro, are they getting it on? I'm like, what? I said, I'm trying to wash my hands. So here comes security. They got to kick him out, security guard. He's like, would you like to see some photographs I took afterwards? I said, you have material. He said, oh, I've got material. He was like a bouncer or something. And the lady was like taking exhibition pictures to keep herself from being put in jail. They had to keep her for 24 hours. If you're listening to the story, sweetheart, I hope you're okay. I know this is about 20, maybe 18 years ago, but I hope you're doing all right. Maybe you've got some kids, but I don't know her name. I don't know her personally. I saw the pictures.
That's awesome.
But anyway, I I asked the security officer, I said, are there any other facilities here to wash your hands? He said, no. I said, well, I'll be damned. So that whole night,
I'll be damned.
So that whole night, I had to play the first part of the set, intermission, second part of the set to 2:30 in the morning with dirty hands. I'll never forget it. So kids, always stay in school, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Keep your butt off the sink.
Yeah.
Now, science.
Science.
Science. So let's see here.
Kind of hard to kind of pivot from that to science, but
it's a hard act to follow. It's a hard act to follow.
You can do stuff.
So I got out of the band scene. That wasn't the incident that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. No. It was more or less like, because like my big sisters, they were like doing school, and the youngest of my big sister, she's a veteran RN now. She's telling me, you go ahead and get into college. I was like, okay, fine. So that was my response, because otherwise, she's like 5'0" and but she's got a mean kick in the back of her. Man, boy, I tell you, she's got a mean kick. So I said, you know what, why not? So hopped into school, sold all of my gear. For like college tuition and books and stuff, and got into college, started tutoring, and then I immediately started doing some adjunct teaching. You're just like, are you a professor? I'm like, bro, I'm just a junior in college. But the thing was, it's like I studied like 2/3 of all the material at home a long time ago. So by the time I hopped into college, I already knew the shit.
Right.
Some of the benefits of being homeschooled, self-taught. You learn some discipline and time management, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So got there, got my bachelor's in Earth System Science. Was it magna cum laude or whatever? Magna cum laude.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Man, I was teaching Newtonian mechanics, climatology, electromagnetics, all kinds of juicy physical sciences.
Nice, dude.
And in the mix of all this, you know what I mean? Now let's stop here. Let's stop at my undergraduate. At this point, we're going to stop at my undergraduate. At this point, I'm still thinking about this amalgamation of a draft that's called Journey of the Shadow. Boom, there it is.
Nice. I like that. I like what you did there.
Yeah, you appreciate that. Finger guns, Tiger. Finger guns. You guys can't see the finger guns at home because, it's audio. But anyway.
No, it's video. They'll see them. They'll see them.
They'll see it.
They'll see it. They'll see
Thank
all
God.
of it. All
there
of
we
it.
go. Just like the security guard showed me that material.
We got material. We got material.
I hope she's doing all right. Hope to God she's all right. But we at the time I had this draft, okay, called Journey of the Shadow. And it was an amalgamation of me being inspired by, by music, inspired by my interest in sciences, the hard sciences, inspired by, maybe some of the old school anime classics. Man, where do I begin? Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll, Samurai X. If you can see in the background, I got a Tenchi Muyo poster, Rest in Peace Pioneer. 1992 exoticness, what you know about that? The Wu-Tang, when they dropped 36 Chambers was 1993 exoticness. I mean, hey, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing. They're not. They're still not.
They're still killing it. They're killing it.
They're not.
They're still killing it. So During the Shadow was born out of all these experiences with being passionate about music. Oh man, I got to tell you guys that I used to break some keyboards when I was in some blues bands, because there was an intersection of my interest in doing music, but as I was playing in blues bands, I was listening to shit like Slipknot, Iowa, right? And it's not necessarily, you sit back and drink a glass of wine type of audio, right? So here I am. One night, I got a bad track. One night, I'm on stage, and I'm just pissed. Maybe I'm 17. I'm just pissed. And they give me 20 minutes to do a solo, and I'm just ripping up the keyboard. I just kick it down And then it turned into like an 80s punk rock scene for like Black Flag or something. I just kicked the son of a bitch. I just stomp on the keyboard. It's my keyboard. And then the guy, the lead singer of the band was just like, ladies and gentlemen, Stone Abdullah. They're just like, woo, get it! You know, the girl in the back is always saying something. And I stormed off the stage and I slammed the keyboard. But anyway, so I mentioned that to express passion. Or,
Okay.
Yeah, I just that's all
a little bit,
I'm
just
not
a little
talking about
bit.
anger issues.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a little
Just passion.
just passion. Okay, we ain't talking about not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice.
Right.
Talking about practice. So so out of all this, enthusiasm and stuff for me trying to express myself through music and finding where my how do you say you reverberate with certain things creatively, and each human being does. And as I found myself exploring these vestiges of creativity, Journey to the Shadow just kept evolving. I said I wanted to tell a story about someone going on a journey, much like myself going on a creative journey. But I extrapolated that to say, well, what if the main protagonist had all these powers? What if the main protagonist had so much power, he didn't understand why the hell he had it in the first place? And furthermore, he knows that he's going to get even more powerful to defeat an evil eventually down the road. Why are these sequences of events happening? But not only is this going to be a tale of supernatural stuff and metaphysical discussions and duality and that sort of thing, we're going to throw in some hard sciences because you bet your sweet potato booty I loved sci-fi stuff from Rod Serling's Twilight Zone, old school Outer Limits, watch Alfred Hitchcock. All that stuff was heavily influential, man. Like how you can tell a deep story in 30 minutes. That's what I love, that kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. Let's challenge ourselves to make some characters. We don't want to write an anime because I can't stand the tropes. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like tropes. I don't like 6-episode long fight scenes. I don't like cheesy one-liners. Resident Evil, I'm looking at you. I mean, I'm not knocking Resident Evil all the time because, I love Jill Valentine, but not what they did to her recently. Okay, another podcast. But it's just another podcast. They made her look like a heroin user from Kent, Ohio, okay?
Nice.
Why are you going to do that to my girl? Anyway, I'm calm. So
Passion.
So,
it's called passion. It's called passion.
It's called passion. A lot of people, they don't have it. I have it. A lot of people may not have it, but I'm the best at it. Believe me. I'll bring out an Obama impression later. Trust me. But and it's good for America, and it's good for our kids.
Nice.
Appreciate it. And I appreciate it, gentlemen. So, Journey to the Shadow was born of this willingness to tell a story about not only trying to find your path, but an existential extrapolation into two mediums. One, supernatural, much like Santana's album, and extraterrestrials, where you get into class 4 civilizations. And you're looking at, the theory of relativity, the stuff I was telling the guys on the set about. You're looking at subatomic particles. You're looking at, like particle physics. You're looking at how to blend these tales of what we've learned in the sciences, and then you're telling it in a colorful way, and you're trying to produce these characters with rich history, such that no one is technically a supporting character. Every character plays a central role in this overarching branch of how in the world do we address this particular evil? Is it an absolute evil? Is it a half and half evil? Can we say, we'll get to it later? Or is this going to be like an ongoing, endurance, arc? So all of these thoughts, man, as I'm coming back home, man, before I got into college, I was working private, and I would get home, man, throw on Soundgarden's, Super Unknown album. Oh man, it's so influential. And man, Mailman, Fell on Black Days, Super Unknown itself. I mean, just Soundgarden in general, let alone Pearl Jam, let alone Nirvana, let alone, all the other guys in the grunge era. Alice in Chains, my God. But I would throw that on and I would sit in front of like what was at the time Microsoft Office 2003. And you kids remember that? That was some, I mean, we had Windows XP Service Pack 3. Yeah. Rest in peace, Windows XP. I love that operating system. See, there's my computer science coming in, but we're going to get to it. So all of this is being born. This collage, as you would look at a nebula cloud, and eventually over time, you're trying to form this star. It takes a lot of work to form one star if you look at the Horsehead Nebula, Crab Nebula, or any of that stuff. But think about, we have hundreds of billions of stars in our own galaxy. I was just like, man, sit down and think about that. What sort of inspiration could you gather from that? What sort of creativity? You don't have time to reproduce tropes. You don't have time to, get involved in ubiquity. You sit back and you stop consuming media like I did around 17, 18 years old. I'm like, you know what? I'm done, Becky. I'm done watching these shows. I'm done looking at these magazines. I want to write my story, Becky. I'm going to do it right now. And then so I made up my mind to start jotting down physically the Journey of the Shadow manuscript, at least the framework, and way up until now. Going back to the bachelor's, okay? Now we're at the bachelor's. So now I'm going to hop straight from a bachelor's to try to get my PhD. Go to California, kind of liked it, kind of didn't like it. A lot of stuck-up people, but NoFX was right. As a matter of fact, James Maynard Keenan, remember his Enema album? It's like, learn to swim, learn to swim, learn to swim, learn to swim. It's like, mom's coming back to put it back away out of there. I was like, wow, James Maynard Keenan was right. And so I got the hell back out of California, won a government grant, got back to continue my PhD in large-scale data analytics. And in between that chunk of time, I was, writing papers as a climate scientist. So yeah, I'm that guy that tells you about, oh my gosh, the atmospheric CO2 emissions, all this emissivity rates, the climate sensitivity parameter, the thermal dynamic. Yeah, I'm that guy, but I'm not gonna, please. I'm that guy. I own it. Okay, it's about passion.
I love it.
It's about passion. That's it.
That's it, bro. So, you're the only, by the way, I was the only black guy at UC Irvine's Department of Earth Science. So as soon as I walk in the door, they're like, oh, who is this guy? Does he really belong here? I'm like, thought this was just about trying to produce some information to inform the public and maybe influence our peers, but apparently it's not. Right. So I got the hell up out of California.
Nice.
So got back, and when I got back into Mississippi, Mom and Dad were like, they had some comorbidities. So I was like, you know what, it's best for me to move back home in the first place. So got involved in my home institution, Jackson State. Then I started transitioning from being a climate scientist and working on like climate models. And then my specialty was like hurricane stuff, hurricane intensification. Man, I love that stuff. Don't even get me started. I'm like, I'm probably going to nut twice thinking about rapid intensification rates. Okay, twice minimum. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen,
God,
if anything happens, just that's the disclaimer. All right. Okay. Cool. Now, cool. I'm glad everybody, glad we talked. Aren't you glad we talked? Cheesy smile. So I get involved, and then I get back into PhD, and I'm doing large scale data analytics or data science. I was just like, I like this machine learning and artificial intelligence. Turns out we got an Army Corps of Engineers here in Vicksburg, Mississippi. So I did a stint over there, and that's when I became a Fed. Doing stuff, working on, the government spares no expense on their supercomputers. And let me tell you something, if I could just maybe if I could have kids with those supercomputers, I'm going to tell you, it was great. But the problem was you had to share them with other users. I was just like, you have too much time you have too much server time, okay? You need to check with your project manager to make sure that you're using your allotted time. You know what I mean? One of those, I'm giving you, and I'm paraphrasing. I didn't, yeah. Right. Passion. Remember, passion. This is about passion. passion, okay? Overarching branch of our conversations, man.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm doing bad work, you know, all this stuff that everyone's talking about on social media about, oh, have you seen the social something? It was on Netflix, I forget the name of it. I'm like, bro, I'm literally working in that. I could write a Facebook algorithm if I wanted, but it's evil. Okay, we don't do that here. But if I did, I'd just be a businessman doing business. I'll just be a businessman doing business. So I got involved in that. Mom and dad were still getting, well, boy, it was spiraling. And so by all this stuff is still happening with behind the scenes. I had published Journey of the Shadow Volume 1 in 2017.
Okay.
But things were like escalating in academic career / this, you know, professional career, quote unquote. I was like, okay, well, we produced one book. That's great. But I wrote all 4 books, literally over 500,000 words written, nice. Volumes 1 through 4. Like that was like, by 2016, all 4 books were written. And then I just had Volume 1 published. You guys can find it on my website, www.journeyoftheshadow.com. You can find it on Amazon, whatever. But man, I had so many you get so many other ideas. Your creativity doesn't stop just because you're looking at, you know, solving some generalized adversarial network doesn't mean that your creative brain stops, because you were given that opportunity to have a creative brain, you know, when you were like 1 foot tall. Right? We're circling way back. We're back to Mickey.
Yes.
Back to Mickey.
Mickey knew. Okay? So from Mickey all the way over to generalized adversarial networks when I'm working in the government, I'm just like, there has got to be a way I can implement this stuff in Journey of the Shadow. So the story kept evolving. The plot kept evolving. The arc kept evolving. The characters, Commander Sumisu is the main guy. That's our main protagonist. And, you know, you got my man Captain Gucci on the side. I just quote unquote, but that's Shujin Iwado. He is he's a freak on a leash, if I can say so. My God, when Follow the Leader dropped in 1998, it was over. Does anybody remember when Korn dropped that video? Does anybody remember? Because the bullets flying through everything, I was just like, oh my God, Korn is amazing. You know what I mean? I was a little late to the party, but I had caught on to Life is Peachy, okay? So after Matchbox 20, doing a little bit of backtracking. After Matchbox 20, I started, you know, investigating into like the metal scene. I caught on to Life is Peachy album. And then, you know, I heard somebody spitting mad raps on like the 8th track of their album, Wicked. And I was like, who's this guy? 1, 2, 3, get way down with the wicked. Sound like I'm with the wicked crew. You act like you better get everybody. I was like, who is that? That guy sounds like somebody familiar. Wouldn't you know it? It's Chino Moreno from Deftones. I was like, so these guys know each other? And so I'm hearing Chino, you know, on you like Shove It, My Own Summer. It's like, shove it. You know, that was Chi, you know, background. Rest in peace, Chi. But I was like, my God, this is even more interesting. In a world where one young man was his creativity, but not in that way. You know? It was amazing to find out that these guys were like, you know, they were like cross-platforming and like spitting, you know, tracks on each other's albums and stuff like that. So way back into the future, Deftones, Korn, all these other guys are still playing a heavy influence into Journey of the Shadow, especially Deftones' Saturday Night Wrist album, man. I would say between Around the Fur and Saturday Night Wrist, Ohms is, God. Like I said, no, I'm not going to nut about that. But, yeah, but Saturday Night Wrist from Deftones is a heavily influential album. Everyone's like, oh, but that's their darkest album. They were fighting. I said, but that's some of their best material. You guys listen to the last minute of Beware, the 3rd track on the album, just like dun 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 dun. I was just like, I don't know how to feel about this. This is amazing. That allows me to figure out how to feel about it. I don't want to be told how to feel. I want to be given the opportunity to find out, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to be a creator, if you're going to be unique, you're going to be true to yourself, you're going to try to express yourself in a unique identifier. I'll throw some database language to you guys. You're trying to create a unique identifier in a sea of ubiquity. And then people expect you to spit out the same stuff. I'm just like, no, I'm going to hang with these Deftones boys. I said, because they're spitting some stuff that I like, and I like it a lot. So, so suddenly, as I published volume 1, friend of mine twists my arm, and he says, you ought to do some self-advertising. Mm-hmm. And I said, you want me to create social media accounts? He's like, yeah, it's free. I'm like, but don't you know it's on social media? Everybody whines and they show their booty. I was just like, I don't have time. I'm not wrong. Can't say I'm wrong. And they still do. I'm just like, guys, can we do something new? Especially after 2020. So, but when 2020 hit, there was even more booty pics. I was just like, what didn't we learn? Anyway, another podcast. So that's my God, that's enough. Okay. So my friend convinced me to start an Instagram. I had a Facebook account, but I wasn't really using it, in terms of like self-advertisement, whatever. But I said, okay, let's go ahead and start the page for Journey of the Shadow Volume 1. Let's do some self-advertising. I said, what can draw attention, excuse me, from people? How can I draw attention to my book? I don't want to be like, the middle-aged lady that has a wine cooler, in the foray. This is stereotypes coming up right here, right? So see, this lets you know I'm a writer. So I don't want to be the middle-aged, Caucasian lady with a wine cooler that posts these little quotes, those little square quotes on Instagram, and it's like an excerpt of the story. I'm like, that's boring. That you're not telling me your enthusiasm. You're not giving me the passion. You're not giving me the passion behind the story.
Yes.
The passion, like Mel Gibson passion, okay? All right? We're getting knee deep, much like Job for a Cowboy. You guys remember Job for a Cowboy's EP Doom back in 2005, I think? So good. I was just like, what the? I was like, dear God, what is this sound? You said, collapse from its teeth. And I'm just sitting here like, my God, I like this too. Let me add this to my repertoire. And so when you drive up to like State College in Pennsylvania, when you go to like Penn State for an internship, and I had like a black Mustang. It was like blacked out, black as me, okay? And I'm rolling up to State College, and I've got Job for a Cowboy, Slipknot, got Trivium's Ascendancy album on blast. I've got Bullet for My Valentine when they dropped the Poison. And then you get a lot of strange looks. They're like, wait a minute, this guy has a Mississippi license plate. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I would expect his license plate to come from at least Texas or Virginia, where there's Lamb of God, or Burn the Priest. I'm like, yeah, I'm from Mississippi. What?
Oh, man. That's
so
great.
just carrying all those influences and bringing it up to, me trying to draw attention to socials. I said, the guys on the set were telling me one of these days I was going to have to bring back my music skills or something. And I said, well, why not use my music talents to draw attention to Journey of the Shadow? So I started my Instagram page, Doom_hiatus. And then I started, playing again. And then suddenly people are just like, well, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Here's this guy. And it looks like he's black. But he's, like maybe Tom Morello can't really place it. But he's out here playing, if you're 5'5", then I'm 6'6". What's it like to be a heretic? And suddenly people are just like, but he's playing the song. He sounds just like Jim Root, Mick Thompson. Then suddenly people start coming to my page, not because of the book, but because of the guitar playing, et cetera, et cetera. And then it blew up from there in terms of from a music standpoint. And suddenly you're bumping heads with, shaking hands with, Matt Heafy. What a sweetheart. Shout out to Matt Heafy. If you ever listen to this podcast, my friend, I know you're busy, but he's a good friend of mine. Mother freaking Randy Blythe. He turned 50 this year, from Lamb of God. Ran into him, been friends with him for a while. Coolest shit. Wes Borland. Yes, what a sweetheart. Him and Allie Joe. They're a lovely couple. Ran to West Portland and Fred Durst. Fred Durst, as a matter of fact, I posted a picture of some of my artwork of one of my characters, Mercenary Tatiana, on my Journey of the Shadow page, at Journey of the Shadow. I posted a tag Fred, and Fred, he loved it. He loved the fact that Mercenary Tatiana was born from the song Nookie. I'm like, yes, Fred Durst gets it. He understands the story. Did it all for the Nookie. Come on, you know? Significant Others is a fantastic album.
Yes.
So when I was doing the music thing and, running into all the blue check marks, you just run into other unique people. That's all it is. You just run into other human beings that have a passion for what they do. And like Shaka Malik from Burn and Orange 9mm, the band Bush, you guys remember Machine Head from the 90s when they dropped 16 Stone? Shout out to my brother, Chris Traynor, the guitarist, now for Bush, Corey Britz, the bassist. So many people that are in the industry started catching on to the story. So then it started turning in on itself. They were just like, oh, so you're doing some other shit. I'm just like, yeah. So then they started, promoting the book. And I was like, oh, so suddenly now people started catching on to the book. And they're just like, dude, you need to get this animated. I'm like, I don't have the budget. I don't know who to talk to. I'm like, where do I go? Funimation? No, they're in Texas. And Texas has energy grid problems, you know? As we've seen recently. Right. Mississippi has water problems, and we're reaching our, a month into people. That's another podcast. But anyway, so now we're all we hear in Darkness Falls, and Darkness Falls is directly attributable to the third track, I believe. 1, 2, 3, When Darkness Falls. Yeah. The End of Heartache, Killswitch Engage, and the Howard Jones era. It's just that man has a magnificent voice. And when I heard, we are reborn, the dream since the fall of man, I was like, yes, that matches the story. Yes. It's passion, right?
This is passion, baby.
Passion, baby. Trying to make this loot. That's it. You know what I mean? It's great. So, it went from being named like Volume 2 to actually embracing what the story was, evolving, from a lot of tragedy happened last year. Like, I lost 5 friends, both of my parents. We cared for them until their deathbed. My God, may God be pleased with both of them. And that was tough, brothers. I'm not going to lie to you, but man, I remember one thing my mother told me, that she said, don't quit on this particular story. She said, don't quit, because she saw it. Mm-hmm. Of course, my parents were like, well, the biggest fans on the earth, you're never going to get bigger fans than that.
Yeah.
But especially my dad in particular, he understood that I was writing this story, I was telling this tale to express these underlying themes of how do we communicate in times of crisis? Mm-hmm. How do people with extraordinary skill sets and personalities that are, that you would think that are polar opposite, but there are so many similarities between people that if they, just communicated, if they just had a conversation, that, some of the greatest adversities can be solved. And that can be solved maybe within 3 chapters. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Themes like holding women to a much higher standard. Themes like, holding on to your honor, dignity, courage, and passing that on to somebody else. If you have a theme of, if you have the strength and courage more so than someone else, then give it to someone else, because that's going to make everything better in the end. Those types of things. This ain't no weeb shit. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys, kids, I would say, they like to watch all this watered down horse garbage coming out of South Korean animation studios. Yes, I'm going to diss you. And this is that ubiquity. You see it in mangas and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not going to get involved in any of this. I said, if we're going to do this, if we're going to be passionate about it, let's write out some life experiences and let's weave that in to all these characters. So that's the origin story in a nutshell, with me and Journey of the Shadow coexisting, I should say.
Dude, that is an amazing, just like summary of everything in one. I was telling Sam before we started, he sent me the book. He sent me like the link that you sent him. And I'm thinking I'm about to read some manga. I'm about to read some comics. And I saw it was prose. And I was like, oh, I gotta read this. Dude, honestly, because I'm not a big reader. Bro, when I read what you wrote though, honestly, it was like I was reading a manga. Like the way you described everything, dude, like it was very visual. You know what I mean? Like that whole fight in that chapter that happens between those three characters. You talk about
mercenary Tatiana.
You just said right
Suzuka.
now. You said right now that you talk about how it's about during adversity knowing how to kind of talk your way through it, right? And it's almost like when they were fighting this character, that's what they were doing. Like they were still kind of jabbing and having a little fun while they were going at this one particular Raven, I believe her name was.
Yes,
but they were going at it against her, and they had this. And then when I remember reading it, I was like, man, this is like it's fun. There's a lot of jabbing at each other and making fun of each other. But it was like the characters just seemed fun they were fun to read. And I appreciate that about the book because the first chapter is 10 pages long, so it's not like I was out here read it, boom, and thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you sent that because I would have never known about this. But to everybody watching on the Kickstarter is live right now, and Stone, dude, your passion, the way, dude, it's amazing, bro. And you've done so much in seems like such a short period of time. And I just wanted to say I'm sorry about your parents, dude. Like that's terrible.
Thank you.
But I love what you're doing. And my question for you after all of that is, how long is the book itself? How long is, I know that's chapter 1, but how many pages is the book, or how long is the book?
Okay. Can I put a disclaimer on that? Yes. Yeah. Okay, folks, listen. Mm-hmm. I know I said 300 plus pages somewhere on either Facebook or Instagram. I know I said that. Okay. But it could be more, all right? Because you guys can't see it because I have this thing, on a little thing with the social media life. But on my dry erase board right here, I have 3 columns of additional ideas and rewrites to some of the pre-existing chapters. And this thing's probably going to be close to maybe 370, maybe 400 pages because I'm planning to release it in April. But I didn't intend that. But that's the beauty of creativity. Right. There's a way to write where you can have everything framed out like a blueprint. If you're going to go to a job site, you're a contractor, you like to have everything set out and make sure the job's done. In creativity, particularly in novel writing, you want to have one headlight off and one headlight on. So much so that you're on a road, but you can't see everything. And that what you can't see is what you're going to paint with words. And as I'll reiterate, all these life experiences that have happened, it made me see Journey of the Shadow in a new framework, in a new light, so to speak. And I said, you know what? There is way more potential out of this story than even I thought possible. And so I think that's one of the particular reasons why when I launched this Kickstarter, that I decided to name it Darkness Falls, and to give it a name that was attributable to the theme that you will encounter within this particular novel. So, long story short, it's already 340 plus pages easily. Before I got on the podcast with you guys, I just wrote 5 new pages for chapter 5. And I deleted like 5 pages, wrote 7 last night. And it's going to end up being a 21. The original chapter 5 is about 8 pages long. This thing's about to be 20 pages now. Wow. And it's beautiful. It's just more story. Wow. You get more, it's more engaging. The characters, you see the story being told from more of the characters' perspectives, because the characters have such deep histories. You want to give that to the reader. You want to share that. So they'll slap the book down. They'll be like, well, I'll be damned. Like that. You're sitting at the stoplight. You go to Walmart. God forbid you go to Walmart at 5 o'clock in the evening. Just don't do that. If you have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, at least wait an hour, okay? 2 hours before the finest people in your city show up to that Walmart. But you're sitting at a stoplight and you're thinking about that particular scene, like the fight between mercenary Tatiana and Princess Suzuka and Raven. And you're just like, and you stop and go, huh, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to give in terms of, generating memories, sharing experiences. And when you go through it, you felt like you were there watching it.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, holy smokes. Oh, really? Oh, so they're talking about a washing machine? Was it a dryer? You know what I mean? It was just, it's those little idioms, it's those little euphemisms, those semantics, the stuff that we encounter naturally as human beings every day that I want to implement in little pockets of the story that help you build memories, that help you construct how the character is, their personality, et cetera, throughout Journey of the Shadow. So in a long sense, hey, Darkness Falls, probably be 370 or maybe 400 pages. I'm trying not to make it so long, but, it's just like 9 Inch Nails, just like Trent Reznor said, I need your discipline, up. I need your help. And he said, but that wants to stop, I cannot help myself. I was like, yeah, because, by the way, love 9 Inch Nails. There's a lot of 9 Inch Nails reference. There are so many band references in Journey of the Shadow. You can shake a stick at it, from Bootsy Collins, Isley Brothers, James Brown. It's great.
It's fun, dude. It's fun. It really is. It really is a fun book, man. It's definitely an extension of you, man. Because now that I meet you, I was like, I get it. Like I get it now. I get, dude.
You get it. You get the passion,
dude. It is so passionate. It is so passionate. But brother, I love it, man. I love it, and I wish you much success. Tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter itself. What are some of the things you're offering for those that are watching on the Kickstarter?
My friends, there are 9 physical reward tiers. I just got a text message from sister. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, I'll try to make this quick because there's ongoing. It's not an emergency, ladies and gentlemen. This previously recorded or whatever, but you just have to do it. Okay, you just got to do it. But Kickstarter, there's 9 physical reward tiers. You can get, from signed copies of Volume 1, Darkness Falls, all the way up to like semi-realistic art of at least 6 characters from artist Shikari, featuring the Novum goddesses, their sister goddess. There's a deity system in Journey of the Shadow. You get oh man, I don't want to that's a spoiler, but you get some other lady characters and 22 by 28 posters, depending on what tier that you pledge at. But as we start to go into these what they call these stretch goals, more content's going to be unlocked. We got some new artwork coming up. And I think at the $1,500 goal, we have some alternative costumes to be unlocked for the Novum goddesses. And I hope we can get that crushed. And then there's a $2,000 stretch goal, which I think I revealed it on Instagram, which I think it's Mercenary Tatiana. And at $3,000 stretch goal, it'll be Princess Suzuka. That'll be the artwork, semi-realism art. Oh my God. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to the Kickstarter, when you look at the characters, these characters look exactly how they looked in my head for like over 20 years.
Wow.
That's the way I've been. This artist Shikari, we've lost sleep. Okay. Swear to God, we lost sleep because the guy was just like, I'm descriptive. Highly, if you haven't noticed. And he was just like, man, okay, let me get that. I'm like, yeah, do you need a reference? He said, no. Actually, send me the reference. I sent him a reference. And then maybe 45 minutes later, I was just like, oh my God. He nailed it. Metal Gear. That was just like, but Metal Gear is a huge influence to Commander Sumitsu's exoskeleton outfit, Gray Fox, that sort of thing. So yeah, from the old school. But on the Kickstarter campaign, my gosh, it goes from $10 if you just want to get a signed copy of Darkness Falls when it drops, $20 if you want to get 2 of the books to get fully immersed. But the way I designed the physical rewards was that, think about like in the 80s and 90s when you watched the movie. And remember we had like lunch boxes, stickers, and posters of Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Jurassic Park, and your room was littered with band posters and stuff. I want that sort of experience for people. You know what I mean? Because that's what I experienced.
Yeah.
I was like, where is that now? Where is it? You know, everything's on the computer. Oh my gosh, I have a high resolution 4K image. Boring. I want a poster. Okay. I want a poster. So you get everything's a physical reward. Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to cut the podcast short, but now she's gone.
Not at all, my man. Not at all. So tell us where they can find your stuff, and then we'll let you run, my man.
Yes.
Okay, guys, you can find everything on my website at www.journeyoftheshadow.com, and you can find the link to my Kickstarter on my Instagram at Journey of the Shadow, and you can find it on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Journey of the Shadow. Just Google Journey of the Shadow. I swear to God, you'll find it. That's it. It's passion, bro.
Stone, you are passion, my man.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for supporting us with our Crazies book. I know I saw your name on the list there, so thank you very much for support.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. But yeah, man, listen, I'm having fun reading it. I'm gonna pledge this. I want to see what else happens. I want to see what happens. You got me. I'm hooked. So yeah, man, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
That's not a problem, and thank you guys for bringing me on. God bless you both. And by the way, hey, the motto for Journey of the Shadow from my man Commander Sumisu is no matter, no fear.
There you go.
Amen.
There you
there
go.
It is.
Nano.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Take care, buddy.
He has enough energy for an entire continent. Yes. You know, he's a one-man show. He reminded me of Robin Williams.
Oh, dude, I swear to God, I was thinking that.
Remind me of
his jokes just went into different areas, and it was like you never knew where he was going to come with the punchline. But that's exactly what he reminded me of.
I was watching, because I was recently watching Robin Williams on with Matt Damon. It was an old video interview of them when they were talking about
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, and the amount of times that he went into character. When I was watching Stone,
incredible.
I was like, it's Robin Williams reincarnated with a mix of Neil deGrasse, and I was like, all right, just go and play, and I just put the spotlight on him. Go do your thing, buddy.
He's great, dude. He's great.
Yes.
He really, I mean, brilliant mind, bro. Brilliant mind.
That's
man.
So what happens is when you have that many thoughts in your head, it's. You know what they say, the creatives or the genius usually has multiple personalities. Usually is battling a lot of thoughts and a lot, so dude. I think what happens is his mind is moving 5 million light speeds. It's just racing, and then and that's where you see him go into character. I just wish I had popcorn.
It's funny because he reminded me, he's like the male version of my friend Crystal. If you ever met Crystal like live in person, that's her. I mean, I think he's funnier. Like, not a knock on Crystal because he's funny, but they are smart. Like when you are that smart, dude, and you know that much, you just can't help but just the amount of information that's in his brain is. I mean, he talked about hurricanes, like, and it all came back to his mom reading him that book when he was a little kid.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Yes.
It was an incredible. Not even. I mean, it wasn't even an event. It was like a monologue.
That's what it was. It was like. It's like.
But I loved it.
Lights, camera.
I did not want to stop
action.
him. I did not.
No. I was like, you know what?
Amazing.
That's what I was like. It's like, you know what? They don't need to see us anymore. Let's just put it on him. Click.
Do you, baby? Anyway, no, but big shout out to Stone Abdullah. Thank you so much for coming on. The project is on Kickstarter right now called Journey of the Shadow, Darkness Falls. It ends on March 31st. So make sure you get on there.
Yes.
Google it on Kickstarter.
The link is below. You just hit that link and head over and pledge.
There it is.
Really entertaining, really fun. And it's funny. We had 2 musicians on who became creatives. So music, I'm telling you, music is the key.
Yeah, there's been a few. I mean, big shout out to Diga Music, and my man June, who was also he's a graphic designer. He did some comics and he's in a band. Like it's just music and I guess comics.
That's how I started.
There you go. Even you. Look at you. Look, exactly. So there it is.
Yeah.
But dog, excellent show.
Excellent
Thank everybody
show.
for watching.
Yes.
Go
So
ahead, give
again,
them the spiel.
yeah. So please give us a thumbs up if you like this episode. Leave a comment below if you have any questions for us or Stone Abdullah. Hit that link to his Indiegogo. Subscribe. Give like. If you want to sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze, here is the information for you. It's pretty simple. Sponsorship starts at $5 all the way up to $10. You can get a package deal, whatever it is. For more information, hit the link below. Go over to the website. It's as easy as just selecting which one you want, clicking, paying, sending us the file, and we go from there.
And it's Kickstarter that he's got it on, not Indiegogo. So just
Kickstarter, yes.
Don't
Can
go
I
to
kick it?
Kickstarter.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
So,
you can.
with that said, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
And I'm George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are out.